So where we last left off, Grenade took over Pora and exiled President Pipe, and he was going around de-pipifying everything. Are you sure it's a good idea to take out these sewage pipes? Yes, it's a good idea. Now get down there and do your job. Yeah, you ever wonder why we all sound the same? Naturally, people weren't too happy about this new leader, so they started rioting. Until they were suppressed. Alright, since none of you can behave, there will be no pizza party on Friday. And Pora was the biggest trading country in the world, but now that it was under new management, a lot of countries did opt out, but the two main ones are Surto and Asan. Now, Asan is important, because they used to be allied with Escuero before the assassination of their president and President Bullet took over. So needless to say, Asan and Escuero weren't on the best of terms. Well, we can't just let them sit there peacefully. Don't you think it's a bit early to attack someone? I mean, we haven't even found Floyd. Who? Floyd, the executive that betrayed you and is now running loose in the streets with government secrets? Well, we have a team looking for him. I'm sure they're doing a great job. Do you think he's under that rock? No, he's not under the rock. What about that one? No, not this one. Do you think he's under that one? We pay them pretty well. With the money he was getting from the trading business, he was starting to get some scandalous, mischievous, and ne'er-do-well activity ideas. No, we need to solve real issues. We can't just go around attacking everybody. You can't just do this. This is not how you should run a country. We attacked a supply ship. Just to, you know, poke the bear a bit. What the hell was that for? Sorry, I made a bit of a whoopsie-daisy. I hope you can forgive me. You killed like 20 people. What do you mean that's a whoopsie-daisy? And he got a little bit too confident and wanted to send his navy through the Arctic to attack them. This is such a stupid idea. Why not just go around it or under it? And who the hell asked you for your advice? You hired me for advice. Fortunately for them, it wasn't horrible. It was atrocious. The icebergs were so condensed as there were so many ships, they would crash into each other and it would take hours just to move around one iceberg. And when a ship did crash into an iceberg, everyone just kind of had to watch as they sank. Damn. I wish that was me. An Asanian plane happened to be flying through at the time, saw this, reported back to Bullet, who sent out his own fleet against them. And they experienced the exact same horrors. They met about 3/4 of the way. But the ships were so close they couldn't even use the guns on this ship because blowing up the ship next to you would blow up yourself. So they had to shoot each other from their own ships, and it went down as the Battle of the Boats. Asan ended up winning at the end because the Esquitarians were already so weakened from the travel. They didn't live much longer anyways due to the fact that they were kind of trapped in there. The radios didn't work either because of the shitty signal. Alright, so here's a crazy idea. Instead of going through the Atlantic, we just go straight for them. You know, that actually might work. So they headed straight for Asan, but unfortunately due to some map issues, they ended up landing really close to some beach with a lot of civilians. They also landed in an area that didn't speak the same language as they did. Luckily for them, someone called the cops on them, the cops reported back, and then they realized that an invasion was happening. So Bullet decided to set out some soldiers and defend them off. It was pretty weak, but that was the point, to distract them from the much larger fleet that was coming straight for them. They were still closer to the ocean, so when they did come, they just pushed them right back. They managed to pin them against the ocean, and since they had nowhere to run, they just opened fire straight at them. It was a huge win for Asan, and a major loss for Escuero. This was terrible for Grenade, because not only did he lose 2 battles in a row to Asan, his impenetrable military was starting to look a little bit penetrable. Now this is where Floyd comes back into the picture. He had various pictures of Maple Leaf around. Maple Leaf is the cousin of Leaf, the former leader that everyone hates, and Grenade had hired someone to just kind of cover up for him. So he decided now was the perfect time to leak them, and it didn't take long before everybody knew about it. Alright guys, you got me, but this guy is the whole reason we won the battle against Pora. I know he may be related to the leader that you guys literally assassinated because of how much you hated him. So I have no idea how this guy fooled you for so long. Like, he doesn't even talk. He just kind of sits there with a weird smile on his face. Ugh. He managed to pacify them, but this wasn't a complete solution because his popularity was already beginning to drop. After realizing that he couldn't beat him directly, he decided to go for a bit of a different approach. Asan was allied with a much smaller country that you may have not even noticed right under them. So Grenade figured if he took out them, he would win back the good of the people. And that's exactly what he did. This expectedly really pissed off Bullet, so he went right at them for revenge. But that's exactly what he wanted. They held defensive positions while an entirely different army that was much stronger came from the entire opposite side of the country. Hassan scrambled to get defensive positions, but they used their momentum to just push right through them, until they started pushing back, and they each tried to cut through at different times, resulting in 3 different battles happening concurrently, one of which took place in a waterfall. Esquarterian troops got to the waterfall first, and instead of waiting there, the general was just like, nah, fuck it, we just go straight through the waterfall. Are you sure that's a good idea? Yes! What are you, a coward? They crossed through the waterfall and using their rifles as like walking sticks, and hundreds of men got swept through. When Hassanians got there, they figured that the Esquerdo just hadn't gotten there yet. They obviously weren't expecting them to cross the waterfall. The Esquarterians ambushed them and pushed them against the waterfall, forcing them to either get shot or just jump in the waterfall and die. In another battle, Hassan sent out a small fleet behind them, making them think that they were surrounded, so they ended up dividing into 2 groups, which they took out one by one. And in the other battle, nature was on Hassan's side, as heavy rain was pouring down, but wind was blowing it towards the Esquarterians, which caused a lot of visibility problems, which Hassan took full advantage of, taking them out. Now it was a 3v2, but there was something wrong with Esquarterian's defense line, as the Terratachians weren't too happy about Esquerdo just kind of taking them over out of nowhere. So they went on a huge revolution and ended up destroying a bunch of their communication lines, ending up in a split in their defense line. And Hassan rushed it, and they quickly went out of defensive positions to try and go into offense positions. The 3v2 was happening at the same time. Hassan squashed one of the armies, and went straight for the other and took them out. Esquerdo was desperately trying to keep hold of Terratacha, but their communication lines were just too bad. Hassan used his extra fleets to just push right through and annihilate Esquerdo, and push them right out of Terratacha. It was a huge victory for Bullet and another huge loss for Grenade. And after that, Orange ended up waking up from the coma. The stroke caused him to lose vision in his left eye. Hey sir, welcome back. Yes, thank you. What happened while I was gone? What the fuck? Trudeau obviously wasn't too happy about that, and they were planning on getting a little bit of revenge.